Alright, today we're flying in hot and we're doing the AFL Fantasy analysis of the Essendon Bombers. First up in the Beast category is none other than fantasy stud Zach Merritt. Merritt has been an absolute stalwart in the fantasy community, an absolute machine over the years. He's churned out 100 averages year after year and rarely misses a game. Still the most relevant player in the Bombers lineup, in my opinion, and most relevant player fantasy-wise. One of the safest picks you could possibly have in the first round of your draft, because if you get him in the second, you are absolutely laughing. Again, nothing could go wrong with this pick. Usually he slides a little bit to the end of the first round because everyone wants the up-and-coming midfielder, but tell you what, I wouldn't mind going Zach Merritt in the first 3 picks of a draft, to be honest, because he's just that safe. The other big beast in the Essendon Bombers lineup is Mr. Nick Martin, who is a defender coming into the season. Made a big name for himself last year, coming off halfback. Manages to impact the game and accumulate the ball all across the ground, to be honest, and he easily gets open for cheeky marks as well. Word of him starting a bit more in the midfield or up forwards to start the year, with the Essendon backline pretty stacked with Ridley, McGrath, Redman, McKay, El Hawley in there as well. Who knows? But yeah, I think he might get pushed a bit up the ground this year. But no matter where he plays, you can't keep him out of the contest. He's just going to keep accumulating, making plays, getting marks, kicking goals. He gets amongst it wherever he goes. He might not go as big as last year, in my opinion, but definitely a fantasy stud for this year coming. Some breakout sleeper options here, and first up I've got a specky in the form of Ben Hobbs, who is a forward coming into the season. He's a high draft pick from 2021, an inside midfielder by trade that has struggled to cement a spot in the starting squad so far. He has heaps of potential, especially with that forward status. He was the sub or subbed off a whole bunch last year, so he has a super low average that doesn't show what he's actually capable of if he does play. And yeah, hopefully he does play this year. He should play a lot more than he has. He should get more opportunity as time goes on. And when he is named, he could definitely be worth a crack. So definitely one to keep an eye on as the preseason progresses. And yeah, if you hear his name pop up, definitely get on board for 2025. Could be a sneaky forward option if you've left it a little bit thin. Another big breakout contender and another high draft pick from recent years is Elijah Tsardas, who is a huge accumulator of the ball at under 18 level and in the VFL the last couple of years since being drafted. He was substitute in 5 of his 7 games last year, so really didn't get any kind of good run at it, no kind of good time on ground or anything like that. But if he can find a role in the starting 22, look out, because this guy can play. He definitely is an inside midfielder. There's no other role for him, so we'll see how Zerrett, Parrish, a bit of daylight after that, to be honest. So he could be the man to fill the 3rd spot. You never know. So if his name pops up this year, keep an eye out. Probably not a draftable option, but definitely one to keep an eye on throughout the year and pick up off the FA. A big hyped rookie option coming into this year is the mid-season draftee from last year's draft in Saad El Hawley, who is a defensive midfielder coming into the season. He played 12 VFL games last year at an average of 99.7. Before being drafted by Essendon, he was averaging over 100 with the Northern Bull Ants as a half-back flank and a wingman option, a bit of a utility as well. But yeah, definitely that half-back player. Played a handful of VFL games for Essendon at the end of last year, and again playing that half-back role, also showing his speed and forward pressure as well. And he is a serious athlete. With the retirements of Dyson Heppel and Jake Kelly, I can absolutely see El Hawley as a mature age recruit getting a run this year, and when he does, I think he's going to make the most of it and surprise the AFL world, to be honest. I'm very, very hyped for this guy, so keep an eye out for him in this preseason. If he's getting a good run at it, look out. With that defensive status, fantastic option late on draft day. And a few beware options coming in for the Bombers this year. As every year, I'm telling everyone to stay away from Essendon ruckman. Sam Draper and Todd Goldstein are the options there, and neither of them have ever really... Todd Goldstein is 37 for starters, and he used to be a very, very good ruckman, but he's not relevant anymore. He's not going to get the big time on ground. I just don't see either of the Essendon ruckman in Todd Goldstein or Sam Draper having a big year. Just stay away. Just get a backup ruckman from another team before a Bombers ruckman. And the other one I've got to look out for here is Archie Perkins. He is midfielder only, which is a bit sad. If he was forward, definitely a bit more relevant. But with so much happening at the Bombers, so much speculation on his role as well, really not sure if he is super draftable, maybe with your last round pick or something like that. But Archie Perkins really not on my radar coming into the 2025 season, unless he picks up that DPP. Maybe. Very maybe. So that is the Essendon Bombers. A few players to keep an eye on and a few players I'm keen for this year. Hope that gave you a little bit of insight for the year ahead. And if you liked this video at all, please consider liking or subscribing. And stay tuned for the next one. We're going to get into the Fremantle Dockers with the next one, so tune in for that. See you then.